Okay, already breaking what should be my standard practice, but really, did you think I would miss this opportunity? Especially considering who that is. So, I apologize that we are not aboard my flagship right now, nor my capital ship. No, we are aboard one of the ships of my fleet, the ISS Requite. There are 3 references in its name and registry. Let me know if you get them. This is my legendary Avenger, Kit Bash with the Arbiter. But behind us, we have a great honor. If only I could have him in this video. Allow me to introduce you to and to welcome the Dark Speaker himself, Scourge of so many, respected warrior of the Empire, an ambassador you do not ignore, Lucifer, also known as Augment Dictator Games. And he's legendary Baltascule. The subject of this video does entwine them both. And although I'm covering only one ship right now, I will give you my fundamental lowdown on the entire bundle. So don't worry, if you do want to catch what I think of the other ship, the video will be there. But if you're wondering what I think overall, that's at the end. And considering I've got Lucifer behind me, let me warn you that the build I have used on this ship is actually used in one of these videos to help me construct it while I test a certain aspect of this ship. Technically, I should have tested an aspect of that. Oh, I did! I brought one of its consoles across. Okay, long enough introduction aside. Members of the Federation, Klingon Defense Force, Romulan Republic, and the Dominion. Please, get comfortable and allow me to introduce you to the stats of this magnificent starship. So, this is a Tier 6 starship. Available to any faction once you have defeated the tutorial. Its hull modifier is 1.5. Its shield modifier is 0.8. It has 5 forward weapons and 3 aft, with 3 device slots. Its base turn rate is a impressive 12, and its impulse modifier is I'm all alone. Is 0.15. The inertia rating is 55. This ship will keep getting better though. Bearing in mind though, I am going to discuss what this ship is capable of. The bonus power settings, because this ship is a miracle worker vessel. Oh yes. It's plus 20 to weapon power, plus 5 to shields, and plus 5 to engines. We cannot complain. Simply put. It's got some special equipment we'll go into later, but its innovation mechanics will allow you to utilize strategic maneuvering. Well, its innovation mechanics and its cruiser command abilities will allow you to have strategic maneuvering, shield frequency modulation, and weapon system efficiency. Heads. Once again, this is the Battlecruiser. I mean, it's in the legendary Battlecruiser bundle. What are you expecting? What that means, well, that gives it absorptive plating, physical and kinetic damage resistance, enhanced weapon banks, critical severity, enhanced plating, energy damage resistance, armored hull, well I should hope it would be, maximum HP, and being a legendary ship, it gets the legacy traits of the Inquiry and of the Arbiter. And speaking of those ships, we'll be onto them in a second. We also have its trait, Ships of the Line. More on that in a little bit. Big final focus then, the consoles. To make or break the ship is 5 tactical, 4 engineering, 2 science, 1 universal. The ironic thing about that is, it's taken the engineering and the tactical of the Inquiry and swapped them around. Then gained 1 universal because this is the miracle worker. What do you think this means for the Inquiry? As far as bridge officers go, Well, this ship makes up for the inquiry. Why? Because it has an ensign universal, a lieutenant universal, 2 lieutenant commanders, 1 tactical, 1 science with intel specialization, surgical strikes, people, and then a commander engineering, as you'd expect from a cruiser type battlecruiser, with miracle worker specialization. Yeah, I'm not done yet. I'm dancing around a lot, but that's because I need to stop myself from being overly hyped and happy. Why? Because my ADHD is going completely nuts. But you can't blame me. You've heard the stats of this ship. What do these stats mean for the ship? Well, first of all, let me do to this ship what I did to the Inquiry. You remember? When it came out, I was so angry that it was a promo ship. Yeah. That I was nasty and I put it against the Arbiter and the Fleet Gargaren. Basically going, excuse me, are you better than these? Yeah. I hope so. Oh look, you're only a little bit better than them, so you're not really effing worth it, are ya? Yeah, you can imagine I was pretty angry at the Inquiry's promo thing, because I hate gambling. Well, in the case of this ship, it's part of a legendary bundle that I just picked up for 60 quid's worth of Zen, roughly. At full price, we're talking about 100 quid worth of Zen. This means you are getting an enhanced version of a Zen Starship, the Water Skill, and a £300 promo ship, the Inquiry, for 60 to 100 quid. If you haven't gathered yet, yeah, it's worth picking up, especially considering this ship. Well, this ship is a monster. It's the new. I wouldn't be too surprised if it turns out to be the new generation of the legendary Odyssey, which is ironic because I just reviewed the legendary Odyssey, and the when we get to the Porter School, you're gonna find me having some funny overlays here. But why is this ship so pernient? Why? It's got one hell of a hull armor. Enough so that this ship can tank, and I mean it can tank. In comparison to its counterparts, well, the Gargaren was 1.3, the Fleet Gargaren, sorry, is 1.375, the Arbiter was 1.25, and the Inquiry was 1.45. This ship has better armor than all of them. Just slightly better than the Inquiry, to be fair, though. As far as shields went, well, it was 1.15 on the Inquiry. This one's 1.8. Okay, this ship has weaker shields. Not that much weaker. And considering the other two are either 1 or 1.045, this ship, it may have the weakest shields of the lot, but it makes up for it. Why? It's a miracle worker ship. What do you think it's really good at? Energy displacement. Keep going on. We're talking about a ship here that has... what is it? Turn rate 12 compared to the Inquiry, which was 8. The Arbiter, which was 9. And the Fleet Shepherd, which was 7.5. Why do you think I just said it makes up for it? It's a ship really good with energy efficiency, and it's highly maneuverable. Hang on, what do most energy builds want? Oh, so let's go to energy builds now. What this ship does amazingly well. Those 5 tactical consoles, brilliant if you want to go beam fire at will. Cannon scatter volley. Cannon rapid fire. Hell yeah. But remember, we can X2 upgrading now. Even with just 1 X upgrade and giving you one extra universal console and 1 extra trait going in there, you've got a pretty strong ship. Upgrade this ship twice to the X2. You got 3 universal console slots to throw in there. what do you want to do with them? Add more tactical consoles? You could. Throw up the engineering and show how badly this ship can really hold tank? Yeah, sure. Or you can take full advantage of the fact that this ship will now kinetic like a madhouse. It is a shame it doesn't have command on it. Honestly, I would have liked Miracle Worker and Command. Why? Because then this ship would be a DPS powerhouse as far as tactical DPS goes. Luckily, they held it back somewhere. Not that it holds it back that much. Because quite frankly, the only place this ship is somewhat weak in is science. And I can only say somewhat weak in because, well, all of its other counterparts, the battlecruisers I mentioned here, they're all 2 or 1. So the same as it. They've all got about the same capability as science bridge officer positions. Give or take. I have just a modicum of a question here. Because, as far as it goes, we are actually looking at a ship here. That is the Inquiry. That was, well, 300 quid. Okay, I'm going to have to be honest about that part. Because the Inquiry was a Miracle Worker too. So, why am I so hyped for the legendary Avenger versus the Inquiry? Well, it's this simple. The legendary Avenger comes with more, has the same level, if not more, combative capability than the Inquiry. And when I say same level, I mean literally this ship can fight actually harder than the old Inquiry, because like I said, those engineering tactical consoles have been swapped around, and if it wasn't for the new advanced engineering consoles, this ship would have just decimated the Inquiry. But to go even further beyond that, well, this ship has its own unique quad cannons, which, as far as I've tested so far, have turned out to be quite effective. Quite useful. Now, I was going to argue and say these could probably be potentially a new meta cannon to use in beam overload builds. Yeah, I'm wrong. There's no way that's the case. But seeing as I'm now talking about them, let's have a look at them. I'm actually somewhat annoyed that I haven't unlocked this yet, but that's why I'm not going to talk about this just yet. Unfortunately, I do still need to do my runs for the actual combats with this ship. So I've decided to start the review now, and we'll talk about that in a second. But here's something I want to talk about right now. Oh yeah! The overload linked phaser quad cannons. You can see that I have not re-engineered them yet. Why? Because I felt like being a bit of a douche to myself, and I just wanted to see what these could do in general. You can also see that I've handicapped my ship, but instead of going with what would really make it powerful, I went, you know what? We're going to beam overload on this ship, give it lots of weapon haste, and just see what happens. And yeah, I used a lot of advice from Oggy in order to help me make this work. Because to be totally honest with you, if I hadn't looked at these videos to try and fix the initial flaws of this ship, yeah, it was through the flooring capabilities. I messed up. Well... okay, focusing now. The overload linked phaser quad cannons are quite the nice set of quad cannons you can have. Adding to the other phasers we've already got, you know, Agony phaser quads and standard quads, we have these ones which do about the same level of damage output. You're looking about 1.5 phaser damage. I say this, I do need to denote that you probably want to 1.2 to 1.5, okay? Because 1200 to 1500 phaser damage. This is purely because I do have some modifiers there benefiting it. Now, if I use beam overload right now, this weapon will get cannon rapid fire. Little side noting. If I use beam overload free, that does not mean this weapon gets cannon rapid fire free. Understood? Now, if you look at its stats, it says cannon rapid fire free, okay? So, if you use beam overload free, it's going to tell you it has cannon rapid fire free. So, why am I saying it doesn't have it? Here's the thing. I don't know if this is a bug or if I just got really unlucky, but in the couple of runs I've already done with it, the damage doesn't seem like it's there. Now, I might just be miscalculating, because that there, with the statement it gives you, quad phaser cannons rapid fire 3, that will change to rapid fire 2 and rapid fire 1 if you use beam overload 1, 2 or 3. Depending on what you use, depends on what it says. I probably should have tested it with just beam overload 1 to see what happens, but I don't know, the damage doesn't seem to be there, so I don't want to count it as a full rapid fire 3, so I just wanted to bring that up. Now, I could be wrong, and if anyone has noticed different from me, please, this is the point where I need you to say that in the comment section. I will pin your comment. It'll be really helpful to see. But with this being said, the damage output I saw from it was definitely equivalent to rapid fire 2 while I'm using beam overload 3. And for me, that is really good. Why? Because it means you're not sacrificing that much damage. The result meaning that this weapon, as long as you maintain that forward arc and forward fire biased, you're looking at quite a sizable amount of damage coming from your cannons as well as your standard beams. This would also work really well if you were combining it with, say, surgical strikes, because surgical strikes doesn't really care what weapons you're using, and as a result you could utilize a build that hybrids almost all three together. The only problem you get is that if you use beam overload on this ship, I'm pretty sure it doesn't affect the you know, I'm double checking. Yeah, doesn't affect it. So its proc only benefits itself. I know I shouldn't really need you to check that. I just felt like I had to. It still doesn't matter though. To me, these weapons, these new overload linked phaser quad cannons are exceptionally good quad cannons. You can only equip one set of quad cannons, so don't go thinking you're going to be slamming on the agony quads right alongside these, as much fun as that would be, and would be a good combination for any cannon build. Unfortunately, you got to pick your quads. Out of phasers, this one's my favorite. Just saying. Just saying. I'm going to rank this cannon at 9 out of 10. And the only reason I'm ranking it out of 10 is because I'm not sure if it's a misconception with what it's saying on its stats. I really do need someone to come along and go and confirm that that is rapid fire 3. Please. Thank you. Anyway, you may notice that the ship I'm using isn't using any of the Arbiter's consoles. There's a reason for this. Now, I don't want to sound too harsh, but the variable assault deflector array is probably one of the only ones I can get behind. What you're seeing down the bottom of here is currently everything you'd get from the bundle, except for that be a promo. There'd be free. There's your new weapons, Prior's World. Have fun with that there. I'll be talking about that in a second. But the bottom bit here is the consoles you'll get as you pick up this ship. The console universal variable assault deflector array has bonus internal rate and bonus phaser damage. This is really good for any cruiser with low maneuverability. But in regards to this ship, it's useless. This ship is so maneuverable already that turn rate is... It's a bad choice in console. There are better consoles you can get that 15% phaser damage from and not be sacrificing a poor active in, because honestly, the VADA system, the phaser cone blast that buffs all frontal shields, is a bit meh. Dealing just over 8,000 phaser damage to foes that are caught within the forward cone. And this is all foes caught within the forward cone, so yeah, you can get a huge amount of damage output if you've got collective enemies in it. It's not good enough in my opinion. And when taking weapon damage to your forward shields, it will heal 75% of that damage for 20 seconds. So essentially, while this is active, you've got a huge amount of defense to your shields and a decent outgoing phaser damage, but that's it. And quite frankly, there are far too many alternatives. Here's one for you. Approaching Agony. Basically the same thing, but it also adds a disable in there, and it will give you extra critical chance. There isn't a better option right there. I'm actually annoyed that I can't see it right now. But there's another one that I also like to throw in sometimes. The Red Matter, for example, is actually a good one too. Red Matter that you get from the scout ship. Oh, hang on. There's a good one. The Fusion Expulsion gives you some control expertise boost. Hopefully you're running DPRM, in which case you could always throw on the point defense bombardment thing, and you'll get its 2-piece set where you gain 35% extra phaser damage plus all this. Obviously that one there is sizably better to add on than that would be, because it's got the same critical chance. You can see where I'm getting at, right? I'm sorry to say it, because this ship is brilliant for what you're getting, but the console, the best console of the set, is a little bit meh for the ship itself. So don't get me wrong, it's good on the slow maneuverability ships. Definitely something I'd consider for them, but not really across the board. 6 out of 10. Variable auto-targeting armaments. Now, this one, the VATA system quantum mode, is interesting. This is a older ability. It comes with the Avenger, if I recall correctly, and it is a high AoE damage. Oh, Cryptic. Oh, Star Trek Online, you blessed people. High AoE damage and projectile point defense. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be laughing. It's not high damage at all. Not for what you'll see players doing nowadays, but assuming that it can be buffed, yeah, that's how little I've used this console. You could see some decent damage output from this, but it will create 2 level 66 quantum armament projectiles. These will deal 15 1000 kinetic damage plus a 20% shield penetration in an area radius of 1.5 kilometers. It will fire micro quantum torpedoes every second at enemies within 10 kilometers of them, and they will deal just shy of 800 kinetic damage with also a 20% shield penetration. So this is nice. The shield penetration to these kinetic weapons, making them viable at all times even when shields are up. And they slam for doing a lot of damage. Minor problem with them though. I'm sure I can do a run to show you them in action, because I should do. I'll do that in a second. But I have to bring this up. If you really want to go for that kind of thing, why not pick something you can get off a little bit more frequently? Do a bit more damage with it? I don't know. I actually wish I had it equipped right now, because if I showed you my favorite Tri-Cobalt device, that thing can be fired more often than this can, and well, it hits for a lot bigger punch, especially when you've sped it up. So yeah, I'm a user of Tri-Cobalt devices, and when I saw this console, and thought about the Tri-Cobalt device I was using at the time, I actually kind of giggled to myself. Because at the time, the Tri-Cobalt device I was using was superior. So along from that one, because I'm not even going to grade that one, we have Ablative Hazard Shields. Now this one is the tier 6 console, and it shows. With a passive of +5 to shield resistance, improving your shield regeneration rate by 10% as well, it's quite nice. The Adaptive Hazard Shielding though gives you a secondary shielding with damage absorption, hull and shield heal, giving you, this can be buffed, 11,750 points of damage for 45 seconds, and upon expiration, plus 22 to your hit points and plus 6,000 to your shield regeneration, applied once to each facing shield. So all shields get that 6,000 benefit, one each, and your hit points are improved by just over 22k. It's not bad. As a result, as for a defensive console that this is, I will give this one 7 out of 10. Keeping in mind that it is a defensive console and it is particularly better suited to shield tanks rather than hold tanks, so a niche. But I can't end it there, can I? Of course, when the Inquiry brought out, this went from a 2-piece set to a 3-piece set. And so they added the toughest, fastest. Okay, I'm not sure if Riker was just picking this ship up or not. But here's the 2-piece set benefit. Deadly maneuvers, 15% all weapon damage boost, and a 33% turn rate boost. Quite nice, to be honest. Toughest and fastest will give you a maximum hit point boost and a flight speed boost. It's annoying, because if you're really going to push this to the 3-piece set, you're not really getting what I would consider worthy of a 3-piece benefit. Hit points are nice, but that's for shield tanks and yeah. I mean, okay, the turn rate in 2-piece does make it worthy to attach the tier 5 console to the ship. If you combine tier 5 with the Inquiry's tier 6 console, these make for a good combination to each other, and on a ship like this, you'll end up with a real speed freak. At least a highly maneuverable one. But I don't know if that saves it out, and that's where I'm going to be a little bit meh to it. Right. Now, I did say I'll show this ship in action, so give me a second. I'm going to take this ship into a temporary action, where I can still discuss with you, and we'll show off what these consoles actually do. See you there in a second. Okay, so little enemies below. Ain't you just so lovely? Funny, when this ship goes into action, little armor plates will go across the nacelles. See what I mean? Oh, they've attacked. Okay, let's pull up the ablative shields. Ablative shielding is quite interesting because, well, as you can see, it is just shields and it just runs itself quite nicely. Does its job. Okay, quantum mode. Now, here's the issue. They can be targeted. And as you're seeing, they're quick. But making them targetable, you saw what they did to him. Basically nothing. At least you've still got the cone blast. Ha! Okay. I'll be fair with it. I am being a bit mean. But you see what I mean about the consoles. They're not as good as they should be, and that on its own, that alone bugs me. So I apologize to anyone who likes the consoles. I cannot like them. Now, I need to take this ship into action right now because I need to get the last bits leveled up. So, excuse me a moment while I do that, and you will see the action after the final bit of discussion. I'm sitting over here. Totally didn't just make an error. But, yes. Traits. Now, ignoring what has just happened. Not ignoring what has just happened because it's ticked me off. Yeah, I've got a penalty leavers queue. Wonder why that happened. Just to warn you guys, if you do run into a TFO issue, it's quite common at the moment. I've already had this happen to me 4 times today. I'm pretty sure it's 4 times. I might be losing my mind. It's happened so frequently recently. But in TFOs or in patrols, you may find that something doesn't trigger off, doesn't spawn, or doesn't despawn, count as defeated. If this happens, take a screenshot, send a report to Cryptic. If we all bombard them, they'll have to get it fixed because they're going to get fed up with us bombarding them. From now on, because it's been here for at least a month now, I'm going to bombard them every single time it happens. So, yeah, punishment for not sorting out something so bad. But, onto something positive. Now, overall, I'm quite positive about this ship. Overall. We're going to start with the legacy traits. Now, I'm going to show you something right now. Because every single ship build I do, unless it doesn't have energy weapons equipped, I am using this trait. So obviously right now, 10 out of 10. Okay, this is a meta trait. If you've not heard of emergency weapon cycle, then honestly, this is a meta trait that you are missing out on. Grab it now. And hell, because it's coming as part of a really, really good ship bundle, that is going to cost you 60 quid right now to acquire, as opposed to the normal £20 to acquire, that would be for the ship that it's on, the Arbiter. Yes, its trait has been around since the Arbiters came out, and it's still meta. Get your hands on it, seriously. I wouldn't say grab the bundle for this trait alone, because that's a little insane. But hell, with everything you're getting in this bundle, this is just another reason to get this trait. And if you don't want to get the bundle, you have £20 to spare, or you have a tier 6 token to spare, because I'm sure plenty of us have these building up somewhere. Go grab the Arbiter with this, get that trait. It's worth it. It really is. See this trait? Emergency weapon cycle haste. Upon activating emergency weapon power, will give you a reduction in weapon power cost and an enhanced speed or weapons firing cycle. This isn't even a small buff. This is a big one. You get a 20% weapon cycle haste for 30 seconds for your energy weapons, and you get a minus 50% to weapon cost for 30 seconds. It's really powerful. 10 out of 10. Get this trait, slot this trait. Keep it on all of your energy builds. Seriously. As for weapons hot, deflectors to full, kind of disappointing here because I love the fact that when they came out with the Inquiry, they had a lot of these voice line gimmicks, and Riker is one of my favorite in Next Generation by a long way. Hell, it's why I was so excited to see Riker return in oh wow. I say Riker return, but Riker return in Deep Space Nine. It's safe to say that I wanted this trait to be better. But if you've seen my Inquiry review, you know that I was harsh on the Inquiry, and I was probably harsh on this trait. I'm going to be honest, it's improved its standings with me because now this trait is in an account-wide unlock ship, and the ship isn't too pricey to get your hands on for what you're getting. Excuse me a second. Hi there, buddy. How you doing? The only problem is, it's not great. It's specifically useful to shield tanks only, and I wouldn't go beyond that, really. When activating emergency power to shields will grant you secondary shields and a weapons haste. Now, this secondary shield is really good. It is 14,100 secondary shield points for 30 seconds. They'll be milked rather quickly, but yeah. And there are ways to improve it, so it's not too bad. The prime thing there is the weapon cycle haste, but it is 7.6% to energy weapons for 30 seconds. Now, I'm sorry, but that's a little small to me. We've got emergency weapon cycle with 20. This is a trait. Now, I don't mind small when it comes from consoles, but traits are a scarce, rare resource for a ship. They have to be good, and I'm sorry, the trait doesn't meet it. So where I'm 10 out of 10 on the emergency weapon cycle haste, weapons hot, deflectors to full, I'm sorry, 4 out of 10. I don't know if I'm scoring it worse or better than last time. Now, ships of the line. Again, utilizing emergency power abilities. So this can be emergency power to shields, emergency power to engines, emergency power to weapons. You name those, yeah. When you're utilizing those abilities, you'll get a 20% critical severity for 30 seconds. This can be boosted. So the more you activate emergency power abilities, the more bonus you'll get, with a 10% additional stack per proc. Depending on how quickly you can cool down abilities to get these sets off, you can do quite well. I believe you can get up to about 50% reasonably. Now, I'm not saying that this is an amazing trait, one I'll definitely slot. It is definitely one I'd consider slotting because I'm always using some version of emergency power. If I'm not doing that, well then I would have Ox to Bat. So, now I don't know if that can set the trait off. If it can, this gets a whole lot better. If this can set the trait off, then in what I consider the average build, well, the trait becomes a necessity on support builds, and I would still advise it to other builds too. As a result, I'm going to give it 8 out of 10, and some testing aside may see me change this opinion to higher. Just want to be honest with you guys. Okay, now with that all being said, let's fly on in. Take my Castigator class, because that's what I named this kit bash. I've actually got a video for that ship in Pacific. Look up that in cinematics. And let's go. We're going to take a look at how this ship is when customized. And, well, I'm just saying right now, this is where some of my favorite positives come through. Because in season 2 of Picard, no, Season 1 of Picard, this ship was thrown in there. It was the copy-paste ship, and it infuriated me. When I saw the ship, I was like, oh, it's a new version of Sovereign. What the fuck have they done to it? And I got pissed off really quickly. For a second, I thought we had a new Sovereign. I love the Sovereign class. And then all of a sudden, and you got to bear in mind, at the time, we've got the Avenger, which Cryptic did as a miniature Sovereign. Joke's been made in a second. And the Arbiter, which again is a miniature Sovereign, so to speak. Or could even be about the same size as Sovereign. And Cryptic did them really well. I thought they were great. I'm not 100% a fan of the Sorcerer and the Arbiter, but the Arbiter is the one I like the most. So I get that that's a deflected dish there, and it's armored and protected. I appreciate that. What I don't appreciate is the fact they copy-pasted the ship, and they tried to think viewers were stupid enough to think they were different ships just by changing the fucking themselves. That was an insult to us. Happily, someone came along, remastered it, and if you haven't seen it, look out for the remastered video for the season 1 Picard finale. Someone did it beautifully. But here's the thing. With this legendary, you not only get the Arbiter skin, the Inquiry skin, and what some people have been seeing in Tribble for a while, the remastered Avenger. You also get the Season 3 Inquiry. This is how they should have done it. Oh, that deflector is beautiful. That looks more armored to me and more refined than the Inquiries. The whole saucer section is... I don't know, the saucer just feels far superior now. And I think it's because of the change in the lower hull. The nacelles are tipped inward slightly. The pylons are the pylons. They're still beautiful. The deflector looks great. The secondary hull is gorgeous. And they've got that little bit of a step there at the back. And, you know, I appreciate that step. Because you can see how they fuse into each other. Fine. But to me, that little step there just makes the ship look a bit more refined and reinforced, and I do like it. Be nice if they made the hull smoother into it. Okay, I can forgive it. STO, that really I consider a job to you. You could have lifted that up, smoothed it out, made it better. Honestly, I don't know why Cryptic didn't just thicken up the back of the hull a little bit to smooth that in. Yeah, no, I'm just biting at stuff that doesn't need biting at, so it's all good, it's all nice. And you can see right now that it is 2 versions within the cells in exist. So you have the Inquiry and the Inquiry Gamma. You can see how they adjust themselves. It's all very, very well done. As for the Avenger, it now has the Odyssey skin on it. You can obviously throw down the other legendary skins to it. We have Fleet 2 and Fleet 1. You still have the Avenger hull, which personally has always been one of my favorites. Throw on Type 0 if you want. Type 8B. I'm really disappointed not to see Type 7A available, but I guess Odyssey is kind of close to it, so we'll forgive it there, shall we? It's nice to see. I'm happy. But I do have to throw in the joke right now. Is seriously, how much did they want to squash the ship? It feels like, the way the ship looks right now, it feels like right now we have widescreen being squashed into original standard 3x4 definition, if you know what I'm talking about. The way if you had your output set to widescreen, but you displayed it on a standard square box, everything was squished in. That's how that looks to me. It's funny. Personally, Cryptic, remaster it again and just stretch that back a bit. Yeah, I'll give you an idea how far. There you go. There's the stretch you need. You see that? Yep, stretch it like that. Okay. Do it. Okay, I'm being mean now. Let's see this ship in action.
Looks like there was a fight here recently.
Yeah.
I'm not picking up any house.
Sometimes I get so mad, there's no controlling me. My thoughts get so bad, I'm like, I might grab a bat, I don't know. My wrath, my blood boils over like, oh God, here goes. I lost all feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show. So have you ever felt betrayed? Switches how you see things, realize something needs change. Cause I know you got me fucked up, let me show you what's up. Cause enough is enough. I'll take a face full of pavement just to make a statement. I know there's no turning back. Oh God, adrenaline wasted, so mad I can taste it. I know there's no turning back. I'll do what it takes, I ain't making mistakes like that. I'll put it on your face to make you go take it back. I'll lose my shit, I go crazy when I'm mad. And now you gon' wish you would shut the fuck up real bad. And now that I'm gone, yeah, I know there's no turning back. And now that I'm gone, yeah, I know there's no turning back. I'll fucking take smoke, I'ma poke a hole through you, choking's overdue. Come at me and you won't get any older, dude. Crack your holder too. Heating up inside of me, blood so violently. Thanks for trying me. Now it's finally time to see how this rivalry becomes a dynasty. I know there's no turning back. Oh God, adrenaline wasted, so mad I can taste it. I know there's no turning back. I'll do what it takes, I ain't making mistakes like that. I'll put it on your face to make you go take it back. I'll lose my shit, I go crazy when I'm mad. And now you gon' wish you would shut the fuck up real bad. And now that I'm gone, yeah, I know there's no turning back. And now that I'm gone, yeah, I know there's no turning back. Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Yeah, we ran out of patience. Boil up with the cold hard hatred. I can feel the vibration. Feet in the streets, it's a new sensation. I wanna break faces on the pavement. I wanna make greatness look complacent. Adrenaline awakened, I can taste it. We can make an impact, grab it then take it.
Hi guys, so just want to introduce you to a run that was failed because bug is back. This is the 4th time today I've had this bug. Hope he's enjoying himself over there because he ain't getting no help. Right. I'm going to get a penalty, Libra's penalty right now. But if I can get another run done in, I should be able to get another run done in. I will show you the outcome of the DPS runs themselves. I can show you, at least show you one. So, hang on. This is the one I did earlier, okay? It's bugged out too a little bit, but at least it did complete. That one did quite well. Quite happy with that. The beam overload build, it should have been better. Let's be honest. It should have been better, but I'm quite happy with that. My run just now I did with this ship. This is what it got, and as you can see, it's quite good. And I'll be honest with you guys, a lot of this is coming down to the way this ship is built. And thank you, Oggy, for specifying so hard that I had to consider the haste, because I wasn't. He even advised the console I didn't even think about using. So yes, I'm using the M6 computer for haste. Thank you, Oggy. I'm using Domino. I always use Domino. I'm actually using as well the flagship tactical computer to also benefit in haste. I'm taking a page out of, I believe it was Stu's book, and having both trilithium enhanced weaponry on this ship. And then I'm using other means to improve haste as well. For example, I have the reinforced armament engineering console on this ship. This combined with trilithium, one of the 2 weapons, will give you its 2nd stage bonus, which is also a firing cycle haste. That one is permanently up, and you can see the benefits to it. Then I'm using as many control abilities as I can to get my all my universal consoles up as frequently as I can, so I can keep spamming off those beam overload hastes. So it all worked pretty well for this ship, and yeah, it was reasonable. Too bad about the bug in there. But hey, fun to see that happening again, I guess, to a degree. Now, I don't know about you guys, but this ship definitely feels more like the continuation of the Odyssey line. I'm not a fan of themselves, but yeah. What do you guys think of the ship? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you wish it was a little bit better? You tell me now. Come on, comment section below. Let me know what you think of this ship. You saw what this ship can do. Now you tell me, is this a ship you want to get your hands on? Come on, please. If I haven't sold it to you guys yet, I'm a failing. Because I recommend this ship to everyone except support players. If you're a tank and you want something with lots of firepower to play around and mess with, pick this ship up. If you're a DPSer, you probably already have the Inquiry, but this ship is better. Okay, it's about the same as far as performance goes, but the rest of what comes with it makes it better. So, to the Inquiry, this ship is better, get this ship. I'm sorry to be offensive to the lockbox ship, promo ship, whatever it was, but to be quite frankly, that's what it gets for being a promo gamble piece of crap. Where this ship is account-wide unlocked, accessible to all your characters, giving you lots of benefits, including a great set of traits, really, because 2 of them are decent as hell. Absolutely lovely quad cannons, and a ship that basically run and destroy, run and destroy. So with that being said, guys, thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have your own opinions, put them below. If you want to help me out, consider subscribing, ring that notification bell, join the crew of the Shadow Star, or to help fund me, you can always join those credited on screen right now. Links are in the description. Every bit really helps. You have no idea how much. Thank you guys. Till next time, may Warrior's fortune favor your future. Ciao for now. Let's go, Inquiry. Legendary Avenger.